This is about both. This is about the health and well-being of the country and the economy. I'm not saying go ham and rub up against people. I'm saying we need to put a lot of systems in place, but I'm saying we put them in place and let the economy open, that we do the same thing we do with vehicles, that we wear seatbelts, we put in place speed limits, and if you violate them, you get shut down. You get pulled over, you get a ticket, you get cited, you do something, but you just don't say don't drive. No one can drive, no one can go anywhere, and so that's what I'm doing here. I don't expect you to feel bad for me. You know what I want you to feel bad for? I want you to feel bad for the amazing janitorial cleaning crew who I have handle both our clubs, a small family, who work their asses off, who do an amazing job. You know how hard it is for me to have to tell them every few weeks or whatever? Because that's what it's now turning into. Hey, I got to shut it down again. I can't pay you. And you don't think that they have other clients that are doing the exact same thing? That's who it affects. I'm not asking for your sympathy. I'm asking for sympathy for people like that. Hey, what's going on Facebook and Instagram? So I've been wanting to do this video for a little while. And with this most recent shutdown, I figured now maybe more than ever was an appropriate time to do so. So before I get into the entire crux of what this video is going to be about, I definitely want to get a few things out of the way. And the first of that is, why am I doing this video in the first place? And it's to hopefully bring perspective from one small business owner in the state of California as to what the potential economic ramifications of this can be. And that really, at the end of the day, this isn't about me. And I know that's what people are going to try to make it out. They're going to try to make it about like, oh, all you care about is money and this and that. And, this is about lives, not the economy. And I'm going to address all of those things. But first and foremost, know that what I'm about to talk about is not about me. I'm just using me as an example of what I believe this is going to do to everybody and how it is going to be a huge negative impact. And I'm simply going to present the case for the economic impact. And I'm really not even going to talk a lot about the health stuff. I'm not going to talk about death rates and test numbers. And I'm really only going to focus on the economic side of things to hopefully open discussion. But let me get a few things out of the way. Okay, first and foremost, these are some foregone conclusions, absolute truths. This virus is real. Okay. It is not some magical fairy dust, mythical creature that is that's in people's heads. Like, it's real. It is most definitely real. It is most definitely affecting people throughout the country. And for that, my heart goes on. I have empathy for people that this virus has affected. It sucks. It's real. There are definitely more positive tests. Taking that with a grain of salt, because we are doing about double the amount of testing, but that is why you have to look at positivity rate, because that's the real number that determines if this thing is actually spreading, which it is increased. But again, I also am super shocked that people are shocked that it went up after lockdown got taken away. I mean, that's the most logical conclusion anyone could ever make, ever, in my mind. Everyone's locked up in their house, not allowed to go anywhere, seeing 5 or 6 people, and then they say, hey, time to open the economy. We're going to open up restaurants and this and that, and people are going to go back to work. Did people actually think that this was not going to increase the number of people getting infected? And I'm not sitting here and saying that, some people probably took it too far, and, you got idiots that are, going to massive pool parties and on, not spring break, but wherever it was, 4th of July holiday weekends, and they're rubbing up against people and breathing each other's mouths. Of course, that was stupid. But even if none of that took place, riots, but even if none of that stuff took place, it still would have gone up. And so I don't even understand why that's a shock. It shouldn't be a shock. But anyways, let's get back to some maybe the more important pieces of this, and let's get some of these guaranteed responses out of the way that I know are coming, that I already mentioned in the very beginning, because here's the number one that's going to come as I talk about the economic impact and why we should reopen the economy or keep the economy open. Because all you care about is money. No, that's not all I care about. Quite honestly, I don't care if I made $0 for the next year. And the same thing goes for maybe other business, although I don't know if they could sustain that. What worries me is not that people are going to make zero money, it's that people are going to lose money and force them out of business. And again, this is not about me. This is about the trickle-down effect. That if businesses are not allowed to open and they can't pay their employees, and then they can't pay their vendors, because guess what? When a business can't open, it doesn't just affect that business, it affects all of their vendors down the line. This is, the cleaning crew that cleans the gym. Guess who's out of a job now? Them. Like, this is not just about a business, it's about all of the businesses that are tied in. The next thing that people are gonna say is this is about saving lives, and this is not about the economy, and you care about business over life, right? Like, those are gonna come. Can we have a real discussion and talk about how, like, it is though? Like, this is a debatable issue because the economy and the health of its citizens are tied at the hip. Have you ever been to a country that has a horrible economy? Guess what's one of the first things that suffers? The health of its citizens. So in other words, if you have a horrible economy, you're going to have poor health. Just like if you have poor health, you're going to have a poor economy. They're tied together, which is why this debate is so important, because it's really about addressing and focusing on which one's going to have a greater impact, because whichever is going to have a greater impact will inherently affect the other one. Okay, so this is a debatable issue. And yes, lives matter. Okay, of course lives matter. But you're not automatically a better person because you say shut down the economy, we're trying to save lives, just like the people who are saying open the economy are not automatically horrible people. Can we come to that agreement and realization that we can have a debate that one person that has one opinion and the other person that has another opinion aren't automatically horrible people just because they have a different viewpoint on things? And so that's all I'm trying to do here. I want to create some perspective, want to create, use my business, talk about some of the revenue impacts and how this is not about me, but how I believe my example translates to the rest of the world. This is about the evaluation of risk on all levels. Okay, we do this with everything in society. It's why we have seatbelts in cars. Okay, if it was all about zeroing out risk, we wouldn't drive anywhere. But we have made a decision as a country, as a world, in the world, that the risk management of wearing seatbelts and speed limits and those things, police enforcing these rules, that the risk associated with dying in a vehicle, okay, that the number of people that effectively die each and every single year from car accidents with these risk mitigating factors, that is an acceptable loss or an acceptable situation to be able to move the economy forward, the industrialized world forward, so that we can drive places, fly places. This is not about zeroing out risk. It's about mitigating risk, minimizing it, putting systems in place so that we can mitigate it or minimize it to the best of our ability that still allows the country, the world, the economy to operate. Because we can't just close our eyes and put our head in the sand. And so what I'm arguing is that this risk of the economic impact, long-term, short-term, mid-term, etc., is worth putting in these risk mitigating factors. I'm not saying go ham and rub up against people. I'm saying we need to put a lot of systems in place, but I'm saying we put them in place and let the economy open, that we do the same thing we do with vehicles, that we wear seatbelts, we put in place speed limits, and if you violate them, you get shut down. You get pulled over. You get a ticket. You get cited. You do something, but you just don't say don't drive. No one can drive. No one can go anywhere. And so that's what I'm doing here. And so I'm going to get to the point. Now I'm going to talk numbers. I'm going to talk about afterburn. I'm going to talk about what I think this economic impact is. So let's talk about it. Okay? Let's talk about afterburn right now. How is this impacting us?